Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelava, and this is Let's Play Italy in Hearts of Iron 3, number 16. We left off having made significant gains in between our two old front lines against the Soviets. However, the Soviets are making pretty consistent gains against us on the east. In the west, the Germans are finally actually pushing forward again, which is good news, as that means we have weakened the Soviets beyond the level of strength that the Germans are still able to muster. So that's pretty good news. It means that we're doing a lot of damage. Up in the north, the Finns aren't really doing very much. They did lose a lot of land, and there's some minor struggles back and forth deep in their countryside. We did manage to destroy this pocket of Soviet forces, which had been just a terrible problem for so long, as well as the smaller pocket, although we lost a portion of the land that they were once held in. Hopefully we'll be able to translate those forces into a defensive line that will hold on to those areas. We do intend to just keep driving up generally throughout this northern portion of the front. As you can tell by our armies, we do sort of outman the Soviets just generally throughout. We're also going to attempt to hold this area off in the short term. In the long term, we'll probably launch more attacks up through there. We'll go ahead and indicate that with some yellow arrows. That will mean that eventually we will try to press forward from there. We can't really say with any certainty where we'll attempt to go beyond these short-term objectives anywhere else, simply because the situation remains to be seen. Going back to the shift in lines, though, you'll notice that the situation has improved with the Afghanistani joining of the war, or the Afghani entry into the war, as that now makes it so that Pakistan is once again connected to our empire directly, although I guess technically Afghanistan isn't really an ally. They are, however, cutting off a significant portion of these Soviet forces. The Americans, sadly, are pressing disastrously through India. We don't have any armies left in the southern portion of India, so we're not even showing those lines, as they simply do not exist anymore. We do have a force right here, but it's evacuating into semi-neutral Nepal. Let's see, the Americans are making progress against the Japanese in the Philippines. China has fallen, and the Japanese aren't really doing anything at all against the Soviets. It's just kind of been a bogged down nightmare of a mess for so very long, and continuing forward. Alright, let's go to our battle plans, and from there begin. We'll also go ahead and just shimmy our forces around, prioritizing upgrades as always. And generally our plan, our plan is really no more complicated than just pushing forward with every unit we can, as far as we can, everywhere we can. If we can take Moscow, that would be absolutely fantastic, and that is a key objective. Do I think we'll actually be able to get it this time around? Hopefully. The operation's name is Operation, I believe it is Forward into the Fall. This could either mean the fall of the Soviet Union, or more likely, fall the season, which will quickly give way into winter and probably stifle any attempt of ours to move forward. We'll end up seeing what's more accurate in a moment. Let's go ahead and just begin, shall we? This force will leave where it's at because we really don't want to weaken this part of the front. Everyone else appears to already be moving if they're able to, except for these forces, which are kind of just holding off. So we'll send them all up wherever we're able. And it looks as though we can probably attack right there. These forces are all moving up. So this area of the front will be the one that moves the most in the shortest amount of time. And we are just winning the initial battles just immediately. It looks as though there is this battle, which isn't going very well, but we'll encircle them if they don't retreat. Looks as though we're fighting a slightly losing battle for these troops, and they can't retreat into the Soviet Union that way, which is a problem for them and their ability to survive. It looks as though we'll be able to encircle these Soviet forces if we're lucky, and hopefully we'll be able to rescue these guys. How likely is that to occur? Who's really to say? Where's first air transport? Let's see. We'll send you guys back here. And we'll have you fly air supply missions really to just anyone up here, because they need it really badly. And hopefully we'll be able to. Sadly, we're under attack, and we probably won't be able to hold that, which is a problem. Let's see, where else can we not hold? Mainly just right there. Right there's maybe going to fall. Right here, it looks as though it's going to fall immediately, so we'll just not even fight. These troops are to keep going forward wherever they're able. And let's see, are you under attack? You are, but it's not going very poorly. We won right there. We lost right there, though. We can probably try to cut off those Soviet forces. We'll send this mechanized unit back because it hopefully won't have to actually put up a fight if it goes back enough. Everyone here is going to just keep charging forward. These guys will fight right there and hopefully destroy that Soviet unit. Can this army go around? Yes, it looks like they might be able to. That would be great if they could. We lost a battle somewhere. Can this unit not retreat anywhere? Looks as though we might lose them, which would be a pretty big disaster. And we can't seem to get any supplies to them, which is also a problem. Luckily, these forces are doing well. They'll hopefully just purge these Soviet units. And this group needs to go charge up and cut off these Soviet retreating forces. Looks like we're being attacked up here. It doesn't look as though this group's actually going to escape, which is a bummer. Luckily, it was just mechanized and not fully armored. Otherwise, that would have been a much worse situation for us. 1 hour and this group will be able to attack. And we'll attack. And hopefully just... Oh no, they managed to make it. And now they're retreating. Alright, so that's sad. They managed to escape. Those Soviet units managed to escape. Looks as though we're also under attack up here. Or maybe not, who's to say. This unit cannot escape whatsoever, which is just a terrible, terrible piece of news. These units will all just try to reorganize. We'll send some of these infantry units up. Hopefully we're getting at least somewhat more supplied over here. And this unit will really just probably be defeated and destroyed soon. Which is a bummer, and one that we were hoping we'd be able to avoid. But one that was, as it turns out, unavoidable. That does happen from time to time, sad though it may be. And it really does spell nothing great for our invasion of the Soviet capital of Moscow. As every unit we lose is kind of just a defeat in and of itself, and it looks like the Soviets are even bringing armored over to this area, which is deeply concerning. Looks as though we lost this battle. Not sure why. Oop. Let's see, where was that? Right here. We'll just retreat into neutral territory and they won't be able to follow us. Right here, we're just retreating because that's terrible. We'll hold those forces there. We'll try to charge up from here. They'll probably end up inadvertently attacking our armor. Everyone over here on the front line is just to keep charging forward. You guys also keep charging forward if you're able to. Every opportunity to just charge deeper into Soviet territory is an opportunity we need to take. And hopefully we'll beat them to that province. We did manage to encircle those forces though, which is good news. And where are these corps? This corps part of the leadership of those units, which is not really great because they're nowhere near them. America's taking our provinces. We did just win this battle in defense of this province, which is great news. We'll go charge up and attack with the armored unit. And it looks as though we're winning there, so that's good. We won over here, and we won right there. We won in Pogor, which I don't actually realize where that is, which is right there. Okay, that's good. This armored unit finally has supplies again, so we'll charge it forward and up. Let's see. We have an infantry group and another infantry group, and we can't attack there, so we'll charge here. And it looks as though despite just being a bunch of infantry units, they might actually be able to win that battle. Let's see, that's going very poorly, so we'll fall back from there. The Soviets are just kind of gaining on us on this front, which is a bummer, but not really a terrible problem. Just because it doesn't really matter what they do here. Can we just charge into that unit? Not well enough that I want to risk it. Alright, looks like we can charge this army south, and it looks like they'll just win immediately, which is great news. That's the best time to win. And, alright, so we won that battle. We won that battle. Can we charge these forces over? No, it looks like we can't actually even get there. These troops will take the somewhat risky move and move behind that Soviet armored unit. Everyone here is working fairly well at moving forward. Everyone else just move forward wherever you can. Some provinces lost, just generally. We won right here, so we'll keep charging up. Apparently we're getting bombed. And these units all move forward. I guess this one has to go right there because they're still fighting. And we are pushing the Soviets back somewhat in this general area. We could probably charge across the river, maybe before they arrive, or just wait and eventually fight them later. We'll just wait and fight them later. Oh, we probably have to go fight these Soviet forces so they don't charge in between this gap in our lines. And these forces will all go around and try to pincer around. These troops are still doing great, and all these Soviet forces are retreating for fear of being cut off from their capital. Which makes sense. I would probably be terrified of that too if I was a Soviet force. This unit is just not going to win that, so we have to pull back. All sorts of forces are rolling on through. This guy will go charge up and around and hopefully surround Tula. And this unit will go around and try to destroy that Alpine division once and for all. Can we win this battle even though we're terribly disorganized? Nope, because we're terribly disorganized. Can we win this battle? No. Alright, well, we'll run up here and try to win that battle. Supply issues abound. We'll try to just chase down their corps. We could probably rush around here. And we are winning that somewhat, which is all we need to be winning it by. As long as we're just not losing it, we're doing good. We won that battle, so these forces will all just sort of press inward. We'll just battle these Soviet infantrymen because they're there to be battled. This unit, 12 hours until they can attack again. They'll try to rush down when they get the opportunity. Let's see, can we win right here with just this unit? Yes, it looks like we can. Alright, everyone else, keep gunning it up and forward and around. Looks like we won that battle. Or we're under attack or something. I didn't really read it. Oh, we're under attack. Okay, not quite the same as winning. Alright, we're facing a lot of supply issues, which is really starting to affect the ability of our forces to fight up in the north. Still can't win that. Stop trying. Another battle for some place that starts with N. Okay. We'll charge up and around. No, that's too dangerous. Can we fight here and cross the river? No. We're terribly disorganized. Alright, this unit's going to have to fall back. This unit looks as though it will be able to achieve victory, though. These guys will charge around. We nearly surrounded the city, but we just ran out of supplies, so it looks as though the age of our encirclements may be coming to an end, simply because we just can't get our troops supplies enough, rapidly enough, or just anything, really. So this unit's going to have to fall back. We did win that battle, though, which is good news. We finally got some supplies down here, so we'll rush over. We'll try to cut off that retreating group of infantry. So that we're facing a really negative battle right here, which just defeats any opportunity of us encircling that Soviet force, which is a bit of a problem, but not really anything too serious. Can we just rush up here? We lost that battle. Apparently they got reinforcements in. We did win here, though, so we'll charge up after them. These units are to keep driving forward wherever possible. Supply issues abound always and forever. And this battle's going somewhat poorly, not so very poorly though. Can we win right here? Kind of. Can we win right here? Also kind of. What about here? Yeah, actually, a lot. Alright, everyone's to keep moving forward when they get the opportunity. These forces are to rush forward. This unit's to rush forward too. These guys also rush forward. They're doing really well. They might actually start rolling this entire eastern front. Everyone else is still kind of just driving forward. Let's bring up the battle plans. Let's actually not bring up the battle plans. Let's bring up the old lines. Alright, so you'll see that we have moved slightly forward somewhat partially. Right here we're getting pushed back, and we're actually probably not going to be able to really drive forward very much. As you'll notice, this was also where the gap between our attempts to press forward are located, and that appears to be a bit of an oversight that's going to see a lot of Soviet forces drive in. So yeah, that's not great. This unit will charge over and move over into this attacking group. Those battles have been won, so that's great. We'll just charge this armored unit over and try to surround what Soviet forces remain in the area. We can probably win right there, and these units will all group up. Can we just charge here? Yeah, it looks like it. So we'll just charge up and try to surround all those units. That would be a major boon for us. That unit can't really go forward. We will try to delay these Soviet forces. Are they winning? Are they losing? Is it even fighting? Who's to say? This battle's going very poorly. We'll fall back from there. It looks as though we won that battle and they're just retreating. You guys are to cross over immediately. You guys are to follow up. And we'll try to surround this town and destroy all the Soviet defenders. I almost said destroy the town, but that's not, we're not that brutal. This isn't Crusader Kings. We're not going to pillage the whole world in this. Alright, these forces are to continue driving down and around. Apparently we lost the Battle of Moretz, because that was a battle that was being fought, and I wasn't actually aware that it was a battle that was being fought. And we'll just charge around with all these forces. We'll even pull this unit from the front line, as it doesn't really need to be where it's at right now. Turkesad, I remember fighting for that a very long time ago. We won up here, which is pretty good news, and we'll charge up, and hope for the best. Alright, these forces I assume will do very well. This group will just fight right here. And we can probably bring this unit back. Let's see what's going on here. Alright, these two units, these three units, these two units are going to attack. That looks as though they might be able to just win against that Alpine force. Can we just destroy this unit? No. What about with most of these? Not quite so much. Okay, there, we won that, which is good. That no longer exists. We'll go rush this group up. That group's not doing well, so we'll hold them in position. Now they're still not doing well, so we'll retreat. And let's see. Some of these battles aren't going too favorably for us, so we'll just stop fighting them. Right here, we'll just charge up. We'll charge up to there, charge over, charge over. This unit will go up, this unit will also go up, and this unit will change things around and also go up. These units will rush around, and we'll try to just encircle Bryansk. These units are in kind of a dangerous position. We're flying a little close to the sun on this attack. But the remaining armies are going to rush around and try to encircle these Soviet forces. These units are going to rush over to just maintain the encirclement. And these guys are all rushing north as quickly as they possibly can. Alright, let's try to keep these guys from retreating. And we'll rush around behind them. And that will hopefully, if not pincer them all off, then at least do some damage. This mechanized unit's going to have to run over. This group will actually go down and help, just because that's more vital and more likely to fall apart without their help than anywhere else. We've won the Battle of Lviv, and this battle here. That's not really going too great. We'll support them. Nah, that doesn't actually help, so we won't. We got another few groups of mechanized and armor that we can rush over to just defend our collapsing eastern front. And we won that battle. We rolled up. Hopefully that will just make that army cease to exist. It did. Great. And we'll just roll around and destroy that Soviet Alpine unit. These guys will charge up. Looks as though we're being attacked now by that same Soviet Alpine unit, so we'll rush over and then down. That battle is really just going so poorly that it may as well not even exist. This force will rush over. Alright, these guys are all horribly disorganized, but they're still going to rush forward because they're patriots. This unit managed to attack and hopefully will hold off the Soviets. We won that battle. We'll rush over and try to cut them off. Let's see, this battle's going poorly, but we can hopefully rush around. These forces are en route to rush over and just cut them off. These guys will keep going north. These guys probably shouldn't keep going north because there's really nothing to the north and a lot to the south. And they could maybe roll around to Moscow, but I'm not sure if that's trustworthy. This is really the moment of truth. The east is really falling apart, but the north leads its way to an easy victory, hopefully. We'll fight for this victory. We'll destroy those Soviet units. We would have to do that eventually, I'm fairly sure. So it's probably for the best. Can we just win this battle? Nope. Alright, good to know. These forces are continuing to charge up. This infantry unit really can't do this alone, so we'll stop asking it to. These poor guys, right. They're just fighting that fight. Fighting the good fight over there. And these units are to rush over and around. We'll actually send the mechanized over to do that job. We'll send everyone else up. Alright. This unit's still pretty disorganized. Everyone else is doing okay well, they're doing okay. Not at best, not at worst, just doing okay. Can these troops move forward? It looks as though they can. These troops can also move forward, and the rest of them don't really have supplies to move forward. We'll start pulling back some of these infantrymen. Where is 2nd Armada? We'll go rebase there for a second. All these infantry units that aren't on the front need to just get out now. Even a lot of them that are on the front. Not all of them, though, because that would be ridiculous. But a lot of them should get off the front. So we'll rush them all down to Ankara, or better yet, over onto the German border where they'll eventually help. Or, you know what, actually, yeah, to Ankara. Because we'll just pluck them up. We'll send them to somewhere down there where they're not going to be in the way of our supply lines. Everyone on the front line, though, still going to have to just kind of chill on the front line if they're already there, because we don't really have the ability to just turn them into motorized or mechanized units or whatever, what have you. These units are all pretty disorganized, so we're not really going to do anything with them. But it looks as though we'll have enough troops that we'll be able to just encircle this group of Soviet forces. We are losing some battles down here. That's just going to happen. We're losing that battle right there. I wish that that wasn't just going to happen, but it probably will. And it looks as though we did just get defeated there. Let's see, we are winning that battle though, which is good. Now we have cut off this Soviet unit, which is pretty good as well. We'll send this unit south with aid of some other units around them. Apparently moving that army forward just totally knocked supplies out of everyone around them. This unit will charge up. This armored unit will probably take over Stalingrad. We can have that again. That would be pretty nice. Sucks if you're Soviet, but we're not. So it's good. Good things for us. They're launching a successful-ish counterattack. Kind of just lost that battle, but whatever. Let's see. We'll roll these units around to try to just cut off any possibility of escape. This armored unit will chase down that Soviet unit. This armored unit might want to just turn around, and we might just collapse this pocket, which isn't really that much of a pocket at this point. It's just kind of a group of enemy soldiers. Apparently we lost this battle just now. Not overly concerning though. We'll fight them right there to prevent them from taking advantage of anything. These forces are all jumping on the Soviets. That force is also rolling on down to fight the Soviets. We won't actually have them attack because we don't want them to. We want them to stay in reserve and support. Looks as though we won that battle. Do we have any armored or anything? We do. We'll send the armored up. This unit will roll on over and probably charge across the river, which is kind of a disaster sounding thing on its own. We'll hopefully be able to destroy that Soviet unit. We've won this battle, which means they're going to retreat over to there. We'll keep chasing them. This unit will rush over, we'll fight right there with these guys, and that will pocket those Soviet forces. Overall, all a good thing. Some of these units are out of fuel and just generally supplies, which is less than ideal. And we'll just fight the Soviets wherever we can. And it looks as though, let's bring up the battle lines. Please, come on. Alright, no. Alright, so the old lines, we are pressing forward here, and here, and here. We're pressing forward. Maybe not at the rate I had hoped for, but if we manage to destroy these Soviet units, that doesn't really matter because the rate will pick up pretty quickly after that in the wake of the destruction of all of these Soviet armies. Can we just win this battle? Nope. Let's not risk the encirclement over that. This unit will go around, this unit will cut off this likely route of escape, and this unit will stay put. These guys will all generally stay put if they don't have orders to do something else already. They'll chase them down. Can we win right here? Actually, no, let's not try. That would be a really risky thing, and probably unlikely to work even if they weren't horrifically disorganized, which they are. Alright. Yeah, let's see. Our line's moving forward, slowly in some instances, but still moving forward. That Soviet unit's probably going to retreat into the rest of the Soviet units. Not terribly surprising. All these guys have no supplies, which is pretty standard, pretty par for the course at this point. We'll send the armored unit across. Sorry, everyone in the army, that you all have terrible, just god-awful in supply issues that are just probably killing a lot of you. But that's kind of what the army has turned into at this point. Looks as though we are winning some battles still, which is always good. Makes it still so that we're actually an army and not just a collection of I don't even know what. Didn't really have an into that metaphor. You can tell this is starting to get like a little bit tedious, the whole just constantly advancing into the Soviet Union, But you know what? I really prefer it to that point when we were just constantly retreating in the face of the Soviet Union. So I'm not going to really complain that much, because it really could be worse. Easily. A lot worse. In fact, at this point in 1945, in real history, not awesome Super Italy history, none of the Axis countries in Europe still survived. They were all pretty much destroyed and dead entities. So yeah, in a word, it could be worse. Really, we should count our blessings a little bit. Alright, these forces, they're getting attacked, but it doesn't matter because the Soviets are going over rivers and stuff, and that's just never good if you're trying to attack somebody who has all sorts of armored units. Or really any units at all. Battles, battles. We were winning all of these battles. Chasing down these Soviet forces. Hopefully we'll do some damage to them. This group will try to head off that retreating enemy group. And this group will also just kind of charge in and hopefully do some damage. We'll keep hunting down their headquarters. And also close this thing showing our plans because it doesn't really matter. Apparently we were just attacked, but we managed to hold it off. And we'll send this group down as well. Let's see, we'll just charge into here. And we're really going to just aggressively collapse this pocket. And I mean aggressively. It won't exist in just a few moments. So that's actually really great. If we can roll down, retake Stalingrad for one, which we'll probably do in a moment, and generally just hurt them as much as we can, we'll probably destroy this entire Soviet Eastern force very rapidly. It looks as though we destroyed a force over here, or maybe we were just piling up our troops for no real reason. I honestly couldn't tell you. It's all kind of blurring together at this point. Looks like that group is now trapped. We'll charge these groups forward. Everyone else just kind of keep going north. Looks like we're winning battle after battle just immediately. All the Soviet forces just cease to exist, which is a pretty nice thing to have happen. For us. We're not going to win that, so we'll just roll the armored around. These units all keep chasing them up. You guys also keep chasing that unit around. We'll send you all in different directions. This armored unit will try to just race over. Looks like we won another battle. Just battles for days. Turkish nationalists, let's go deal with this. Alright, oh, and we should also probably pluck up all of these units, except for the 12th Corps. And we'll drop everybody off over to Izmit, just to clean up the supply throughput route a little tiny bit. This other group will also just kind of rush down, because it's just an infantry unit not doing anything. These armored and mechanized units not really doing anything. You know, we'll also run them down. Just because at this point they're not really going to be able to help. We already have probably enough units on the front. It's just a matter of making them be effective on the front. How about this force? Will it win this battle on its own? Maybe. We'll rush over the mechanized and aid them, and that will turn the tide in our favor. Let's see, this group of armored, we could send them up here to just prevent any chance of enemy outbreak, which we'll do. These forces will kind of just roll around. These guys will come up from the other side and hopefully just support that. Alright, these units will attack. This unit will... Oh, didn't mean to just stop attacking. That's kind of a problem. All these guys are terribly disorganized. This infantry division, however, is not terribly disorganized, and hopefully they'll be able to win the battle for us. Everyone else is going to just keep chasing around the Soviet forces just in their vicinity. And these units will hopefully win that. Looks like we won and destroyed that Soviet force. This infantry group will just keep rushing over. This armored unit will also keep rushing over. Looks like we're winning all of these battles in all the various Russian countrysides. And I'm not sure if we'll ever actually defeat them, but we can just keep chasing them down. Afghanistan and Persia have still cut off this Soviet unit, which is good. Let's go ahead and add some war goals. Add war goal, acquire territory, Soviet claims on Finland. And we'll see if we need to add anything else later on, but hopefully that'll be it. Alright, so at this point it looks like we can transfer our forces against any of these Soviet units. We'll send this army over. Let's see, we're just chasing down that Soviet group with these men. Let's see, we can probably take these guys and attack right here. And that's going alright. What about right here? Going very poorly. So we'll rush them down and take over that southern area. These guys can all probably just charge on in and break this Soviet unit. And it looks like they'll be able to do that. Let's see. You guys will charge in. Looks like it's not actually going well, so you'll stop that. Alright, down over here, we're down to a very small number of Soviet forces. Just kind of holding on for dear life at this point. And we're getting ready to just cut them down and make them surrender. Or cut them down or make them surrender. That group's still chasing this core, or this headquarters. Some Soviet armor just rolled all the way through there, kind of making itself a nuisance in the process. You guys can keep chasing them if you want. Alright, that we're hopefully going to win. We'll send this group up. Can we just win here with this armored or mechanized? No. But we have a bunch of mechanized and armored units rolling about, so they'll hopefully carve a path over there. And we won this battle and all the battles surrounding it. We'll send the armored unit down. The mechanized and whatnot will rush up. Or the mechanized and all that, they'll rush that way. You guys keep circling whatever forces you can. You guys charge in, try to do what best you can. Or try to do as best you can. United States, Biroche, we've won. These units will hopefully be able to charge in against the Soviets in a moment. And we are getting very close to Stalingrad, or not Stalingrad, to Moscow. More American progress, not that it matters. Alright, these forces will all rush up and hopefully destroy that Soviet southeastern group. We've won the Battle of Panchio. Can we just win right here against this garrison? No. Stalingrad defense is a little too strong for us to just kind of walk into with a disorganized army. These units can probably all just rush over now. Not that they're actually aiming towards anything, which makes me kind of reconsider that order. This group will just go fight that one Soviet infantry until it's destroyed. There are a lot of Soviet defenders just waiting in various fortress cities, it looks like, which is honestly probably a good place for them in really just our kind of frame of reference. Because if they're there, they can't really do anything and they'll just slowly run out of supplies and die. Which actually makes it really horrifically brutal when you consider that those are massive civilian population centers that were kind of just surrounding, cutting off from supply and waiting to die. Because that kind of insinuates some sort of horrible, not genocides, but kind of like the siege of Leningrad. How everything was just kind of god-awful in the city for a very, very, very long time. Hopefully we can't read into it that that's happening in Bryansk and Tula and about to start happening in Stalingrad, because that's a bit dark. Luckily for Smolensk, they've avoided that. And the Soviets are they're going to make it for a while. The Soviets aren't about to collapse. They have just so much institutional just hate of surrender in them. And mainly they have a lot of victory points just kind of kicking about. It'll take us a long time. We won't get through the Soviet Union in the near future. We could probably speed up the game now, though, since not really any battles are happening. We're just kind of chasing the odd Soviet army around. These forces will just go wherever they should. These forces will all charge over to the east. We'll take the occasional army and bring it down south, because that's still kind of a problem. And hopefully we'll get a couple extra forces around to actually start encircling these units instead of just chasing them for eternity. Although I am kind of alright with just chasing them for eternity, as it keeps them really disorganized and allows us to just kind of wreck them, really. These forces still not going to win right there, so we're probably going to wait until we get a full surround like we have more or less on this city. Keep driving these Soviet units forward. We'll try to cut them off. Whether or not we succeed, it'll be a valiant effort. America has practically pressed us out of the Indian subcontinent entirely. Not really all that important, though. Stalingrad has now been completely encircled. The defenders of Stalingrad have been completely encircled because they focus too much on the city and not enough on the surrounding countryside. Alright, all these Soviet forces have been destroyed. Let's check out these victory points. We could just start rolling on into the victory points again. That's really the only way we've actually lost any of our forces, though, so that is probably not the best idea. These guys are all ready to go. Let's just smash Bryansk. And we're doing a pretty good job of it. What kind of defense do they have? An armored unit that is horribly disorganized, and infantry. This group of infantry is also doing no better. Apparently we won the battle of something like Kernsk, which I don't actually know where that is. It's probably right up here. No. Well, I guess it doesn't matter too much. Alright, Stalingrad still encircled. These four... Oh, okay, Kernsk was up here, and we managed to just... Or no, it's some other place. Right there we've won. We'll charge over and around and eventually encircle them. We're out of rare resources. We've been out for a while now, I'm pretty sure. These units are all kind of just charging forward still. We'll retake Saratov, move this group over. And at this point you can see just the sheer amount of destruction we have brought about against the Soviet army. Because at this point, they don't have enough troops to defend really anything in their countryside. They brought a lot of forces to bear against us in the southeast, and they did kind of well against us for a short amount of time with that. Now, though, it's all falling apart. There's just not much that the Soviet Union can hope to achieve at this point. It's at this point that I imagine in the real world they would start, trying to see what sort of negotiated peace they could get. Because it's pretty obvious that if they just kind of fight the war to the bitterest of ends, that they wouldn't get very much. Although, we don't have all these victory points yet, so they still have a fighting spirit for themselves. We'll send the armored up, and just kind of send everybody up, in fact. This unit will go over and around and up. And these units will rush over. We'll probably send a couple over that way. And hopefully they'll just do a lot of damage. This guy will go rush over to that important city. And let's see, the Soviets are 52% of the way ready to surrender. We'll take a lot of their victory points in the coming days. We might actually be able to push them over the edge in the none-too-distant future. Not in the near future, mind you, but just not too distantly in the future. This force will charge up. I didn't mean to actually just reposition this group. That's actually kind of inconvenient. Smolensk we've won, or Sovietsky, I guess. Not actually anything like what I pronounced it as the first time. But I would not be surprised if there was a 3rd or 4th or 5th or whatever we're on now Battle of Smolensk. It just kind of would seem right at this point. Not that I have any right to sound all downtrodden like that. I mean, come on, look at this. We're just dominating the Soviets. We're going to just rush on through here. We can probably encircle all of this Belarusian army of theirs. The United Kingdom, that African tribe thing, managed to take a territory from us. Oh no. Yeah. So ultimately, don't really fear the Soviets anymore. In fact, it's kind of just sad in a way. Medium tank gun, we don't need to research that anymore. We'll probably upgrade all of our medium tanks at some point. The Soviet capital is very close to being surrounded and occupied by Italian forces. We will probably pull this off before Christmas, actually, interestingly enough. What's the weather like? Actually, still fall. Isn't that fun? It's still fall. That kind of ties into the name of this mission. I wasn't sure if it would. I was actually very worried that it would be winter basically immediately and the mission name would make absolutely no sense. Luckily, we have managed to avoid that terrible fate. Alright. Stalingrad is under our control. I don't know why I just said that and looked at Moscow. That's my bad, guys. Stalingrad is under our control. Moscow is not yet, but will hopefully fall under our control fairly soon. We could probably stop just destroying all these Soviet armies because we are eventually going to make them into a puppet state of ours. So that would be kind of the reasonable thing to do. We could also just keep charging up against these victory points since it doesn't actually look as though the Soviets are going to resist us anymore. I'm not sure what changed in them, what kind of sad thing just broke in the spirit of the Soviet Union. But resistance at this point is basically non-existent. And if you're a fan of the Soviet Union, I'm sorry, but we're just kind of wrecking the poor thing. All these units are going to just charge over to whatever places they can. And I imagine that we are very close to the end of the Soviet death spiral. Not that you could really justifiably call it a death spiral, seeing as they did hold on for a very respectably long amount of time. We should go reinforce those units because they're doing pretty poorly there. We've won up here. We could probably just rush to this victory point. We'll send this armored unit down in a vague attempt to go surround these Soviet forces. And it looks like we won right there, and we'll just keep chasing them. Hopefully eventually capturing all of those forces. Moscow, we now have forces on really just behind the city. We'll keep encircling it. All of these units are really not under any threat from the Soviet Union. It really does seem as though they've given up. The United Kingdom, actually, though, has made some considerable gains, apparently. Good for them. We might eventually go back and deal with them, but honestly, probably not. I might just let them be a problem for the rest of the campaign. Because they're not actually a problem. So, I mean, you know, really, why bother? This unit will just kind of rush on over there and then go rush back. Hopefully we'll be able to encircle these Soviet forces in just a moment. Is there any victory point up here? Doesn't really look like it. Well, we'll just keep chasing their cavalry division down into the, just bitterest of ends. Sadly, that group is probably going to be able to escape. We'll rush this group over to the right. And it looks as though the Soviet command structure will exist in one form or another for some time to come. 69%. They are relatively close now to just giving up and throwing in the towel. We could start rushing even further north. I'm kind of worried that we're really going to just throw our force out of position at that point. So we'll just focus on encircling the remaining Soviet forces in the area. We might not actually destroy them yet, just because that would probably be a very bad thing for us long term. Is this battle... Looks like we might have already won that, I guess. Yeah, apparently the Soviet Union is just given up. They're just not putting up anything resembling a fight anymore. We've probably done it. I mean, I imagine this is probably it for them. They didn't even make it down there without being cut off, or without running out of supplies, and their armies are just completely stationary now. Yeah, in fact, even those forces just were destroyed instead of retreating, so we're just going to carve a path to all of these major remaining Soviet just victory points, and we can probably win the war by Christmas, which means by the end of this weekend, because we'll just be able to probably make this video last a little bit longer than we usually make these things go. And there we go. Let's just destroy or overthrow all these Soviet forces in Moscow. The Ascension Islands, well, that's free now. Congratulations, Ascension Islands. Let's see, what else can we snag? Really nothing. There's nowhere we need to go in the east. Whoops. We'll just keep charging up north against the Soviet center. We'll probably just rush over to Minsk as well, which I really just love butchering all these Russian names. Not I love butchering them, but I love trying to say them, and I end up butchering them. And I don't really mind butchering them because they're still fun to say. Alright, and yeah, in a very short amount of time, Moscow will collapse into our control. The Soviet Union will collapse into our control. Moscow has fallen. The Soviet Union is very near the breaking point. The United States is doing their thing in India still. Good work, United States. You suck. Alright. We have done it. It looks as though in just a few moments, and I probably shouldn't have said, hey, we've done it, because it's not done yet. But sooner than later, this whole colossal empire is going to break apart. And from there, we'll probably spend an episode just prepping the invasion of Germany. And yeah, we'll just break the Germans next. We'll break the backs of the Germans. And that will be probably next week. Maybe not the entirety of next week, but it'll be at least a portion of next week. And from there, we'll get ready to go to war with the remaining allies, overthrow them. Is winter already here yet? It looks as though things are starting to freeze a bit. You'll notice it does get a little laggy at the higher end of this game speed spectrum. Let's just take a look at the victory point map mode. It looks as though we are actually fighting a kind of awful battle against the Soviets right there. But we can probably just go around. And yeah, they're just not really fighting. It's almost sad. Almost. I mean, they put up a pretty decent fight for a very long amount of time against the Germans. We didn't really look at that fight because, you know, honestly, it didn't really matter to us at that point. Maybe we should have. Maybe it didn't matter. Maybe we'll eventually get some supplies to this group of troops and they'll be able to win that final bit. Or maybe not. Who's to say? Looks as though there's a significant battle going on over here. The Soviets don't appear to have any supplies, which kind of explains their lack of really any movement whatsoever. We actually do have to fall back from that just because they do have a lot of forces. Now, if the Soviet Union does suddenly just like wake up their armies, then we would be in a really just awful position because we've been moving all these troops just ridiculously, with little to no concern for any possible Soviet counterattack or fight back, really. Which, I mean, is kind of reasonable, since I don't think it's likely that they will be able to really bring anything to bear against us. Can we go to VP map mode? Alright, thank you. We'll charge up to Leningrad. Hopefully that'll be less well defended. I mean, they weren't really defending their last capital, so it isn't ridiculous to hope. And yeah, even if we do run long, since it is just us capturing victory points against a completely just broken Soviet Union, we might just see this through to the end, no matter how long it takes. They're attempting to attack us with their cavalry, and it failed, just depressingly. Looks as though we'll take this city in just a moment without really any struggle. And we'll charge those forces up the rest of the way. This unit will go rush over. How about you guys? You guys just go rush over too. We got some medium tank upgrades, which is pretty swell. I mean, I guess why not? It looks as though we're not researching everything we're able to. We'll go ahead and get some aircraft carrier and battleship techs, because those are going to get very important very soon. Well, maybe not very soon, but they'll get important soon. Alright, victory point map mode. We'll just keep rushing this army up. We can probably start to withdraw some of these forces. I mean, we won't, because there's just still a lot of Soviet troops near them. But we could if we really felt like it. This unit will just kind of bring around on a slightly different path over to that Soviet victory point. I guess they're also going to charge over there eventually. Let's not actually do that, because that's ridiculous. What is Soviet surrender progress at now? 95%. Let's add a war goal, acquire territory. We should probably get Western Finland. Karelia is up way north. That's all nowhere important. Urals. Where's this crab place? We should probably make sure they don't get that. Khabarovsky Krai. Khabarovsky Krai, Kamchatka, Western Turkestan, Sakhalin. Alright, that's some place in Japan. Sakhalin are the islands, I'm pretty sure. Yes. Turka region of Poland, ooh. Good thing we didn't miss that one. That would have looked god-awful. Alright, everyone else is continuing to just continue their march forward. Continuing to continue. I know that's kind of an awful way to phrase that. Alright, anyway though, guys, I'm not going to get too hopeful with you right now, because it's still possible that the Soviets won't surrender by the end of this episode, although God knows I'm going to try to make them surrender by the end of this episode. But, I mean, we did good. We did great. The Soviet army just sputtered to a halt and basically died. That's pretty brutal. That's just ridiculous, in fact. I mean, it borderline doesn't make any sense at all that the Soviet army would just sputter to a stop and break down like this. I mean, admittedly, they don't have any sort of central command structure. Apparently, they have no way of getting supplies anywhere. I mean, also, we don't really have any way of getting supplies anywhere. That's why our armies are going so slowly through these final bits. And I mean, I guess it's also now becoming winter, so everything's freezing, and it's just kind of becoming a little bit god-awful for everyone and everything involved, and we're actually fighting a battle. So we'll just retreat from that. But yeah, once we manage to take over maybe one or two of these additional Soviet cities, that's really it. That's it for the Soviet Union. That's it for the war. That's it for everything, everywhere. It'll be peace in our time, except for all the places that are fighting. yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of a non-statement, but I mean, okay, so we are just kind of waiting for our forces now. Let's just go 5 speed. Looks like we won a battle against some Soviets. We are facing a lot of supply issues. Got a bit of a rebellion going on up here. Please, armies, just go. Just charge. Just make it. Get where you need to go. First air transport. Go over here. And air transport supplies all over this place. Get these men the supplies they need to win the war. Please. We're so close. This war can be over so soon. Also, we should probably stop researching medium tank engines because we can't actually use those. We're now at an hour. We're also nearing Christmas. Come on, guys. We said by Christmas time it would be over. It would be done. Admittedly, we could probably add another war goal and just kind of clean up house even more. And admittedly, the Battle of Leningrad's going pretty poorly right now. So we might actually not fight that. Okay, this battle's got to go well. Minsk. It's going somewhat poorly, but we can just bring more forces in to bear. You know, we're just going to keep attacking into Leningrad, and hopefully it'll slowly go in our favor. And you know, I'm going to pause and then do the actions I want to do and then move forward. Okay, so Leningrad battle isn't one that's going to just slowly go in our favor. Or maybe it will. Who knows? We're going to just try it, I guess. We may as well. Alright, that day was not the day the Soviet Union would fall. Maybe one of these days coming up. Battle of Minsk, we have won. Those Soviet forces have been defeated. Eventually our troops will get there. Oh please, let the Soviet Union fall. That's all I want. All I want, you know, for the near future. All I want for Christmas is the fall of the Soviet Union. Is that really so much to ask? Alright, so the game is lagging horrendously right now, which means that the Soviet Union has fallen. Bam! Look at that. Kind of disgusting. Oh, isn't it beautifully kind of disgusting? Oh, look at that. Look at that beautiful, disgusting mess that is now Italy. All throughout Europe. There's also, I guess, apparently some Hungarian or... oh, wait, no. Those are just Soviet allied bits. Alright, though. We did it. We did it. We have puppeted all that remains of the Soviet Union. Doesn't actually look like they have very many armies anywhere. Ha! Suck it, Japan. You lose everything you fought for this whole time. Oh, what a bummer. What a hard, bitter pill to swallow that would be for Japan. Enjoy not actually getting anything out of this war. Same goes to you, Germany. Get ready for us to turn against you and wreck everything you own. We could probably do it right now, and all their armies would be horribly out of supply and just lost deep within all this countryside. Let's see, what does the, infrastructure look like? Pretty okay. We managed to take all the way up to Moscow. We could probably have taken all of the bitter peace deal lands, which would have probably pushed us all the way to there and looked a lot better. But we just kind of didn't make that in time. So, you know, not the best, but not terrible, and we'll just roll against the Germans, annex Germany, Hungary, and Slovakia next. Sweden's gonna just kind of chill there and be Sweden. But other than that, we're golden. We've done it. We don't even need to look at war goals anymore. All of these war lines are obsolete. I mean, what does that matter anymore? The Soviet Union is an Italian puppet state. We've defeated them. Alright, thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. When we come back, let's prepare our war against Germany and unify Europe completely under Italian control. Finally clean up Vichy France, get that squared away. And yeah, thanks again for watching. We did it. We've pulled it off. But we're not done yet. We're nowhere near